Making this video to give some tips to new MGO players. Hopefully this will avoid you from getting kicked in games of high levels. So first thing you want to do, tip number one, is choose the right weapon. So you would see that mainly everyone on the game uses M4 AK. Very rarely do you see anyone use SMG, P90 or VZ for example. They all are using M4 AK. Sometimes people may use shotgun, but again that's map dependent, and sometimes you'll see people using shield, and again that's very map dependent as well. The reason people generally use the M4 AK is because of the recoil. You can quite easily shoot from far and easily hit the targets. Now if I was to take a P90 for example, it's not as easy to get a headshot. So yeah, stick to AK M4. Obviously if DP is on, then you can get guns like XMB or G3A3 for example. Tip number two is making sure you select the correct skills. So again, as I told you, use AK or M4. And if you're going to use this, then you know you're going to need Assault Rifle 2 level 2 at least. On bigger maps you may want to choose AR3. So for example on maps like GG where you're going to have to do long range shooting, you may want to use AR3. And you know, if you're a newcomer, then no harm in you using it. But generally as you get better, you can start using AR2 and Run 2 for example, or on smaller maps AR2, Run 1 and Mono 3. Tip number 3 is down to the movement. So first tip, don't ever run with your gun. It slows you down, and in some situations it makes you easier to kill as well. When you are having battles during the firefights, make sure you crouch and stand more, and I'll show you this in the video. And when you're running past corners, equip your box and run, because if you've got your box on and someone's camping here waiting to see you, they're not able to do that if you've got your box. Now I've got my gun out, and I just want you to have a look at the run speed. Now if I was to remove my gun, just walk with the grenade. You should really just walk with the grenade or the knife, given the handgun slows you down. You can see how much quicker I am. So when you are in a firefight, if you're slow, the enemy can easily just shoot you, whereas if you're fast, it makes it a bit more difficult for them. So now moving on to the crouching technique. So what you want to do is crouch often to avoid the enemy from hitting you. You also want to box sometimes to just help you get into crouching. And when you're like, if you shoot like this, move like this, and shoot. It'll be much difficult for them to try to shoot you, because if you're running like this, you're so easy to shoot, and it's probably one of the reasons you're probably coming last. If you're a new player, you'll know what I mean. And the other bit was just around the box. So like, let's say for example there's someone just camping here. What you want to do is move your box, so that will stop them from superseding you. Otherwise, if you don't have the box, you can easily get superseded. You'll get stunned, and then knifed, and then you're gone. Alright, so the next bit is one of the key reasons why some of the new players will get kicked, is because they goal a goal thinking that's part of the game, but then they goal a very far corner one, and it means the team then gets spawn trapped. So I'll show you a few goals in the game to avoid, but generally as a guide for all maps, if the goal is very far away on maps like just reset it. If the goal is up top, in most cases reset it, otherwise you'll get spawn trapped. And if there's any underground goals on maps like UU, the first spawn, when you're spawning on the rooftops, if you get a goal there, you want to reset them, unless again it's the last goal, or it's the last goal due to time. For example, there's only 30 seconds left, so you don't have time to reset and goal another one. then you'll goal it. And then you have some underground goals, so on maps like SS and CC. Again, you just want to reset them to avoid getting spawn trapped. And then I'll also show you how to reset a target and ensuring you don't reset the target in the way. So for example, you don't spawn and then reset it wherever you spawn, because your teammates will spawn and by accident they'll go on it basically, and then it will mean that you have to wait another X second to for the target to be resetted, for example. Now if you goal that, you're basically screwed, because the enemy team are just going to spawn trap you, so you can't get out this way, and they'll also spawn trap you from below, so you can't get out this way either, and that just means the enemy team are easily going to goal everything. So don't goal the underground. If you're on a team that are much better than the other team, then you can goal these, you'll get away with it. But if the teams are quite even and it's early on in the game, you don't want to goal any here. And again, the reason being is because you'll spawn up here, you'll have to drop, and again you're just going to get spawn trapped from all directions. So yeah, avoid them unless you're on a decent team, much better than the other team, and you can get away with it. Okay, so in this map you'll get a goal that's around here, for example, and what you want to do is avoid that, because again, if you goal it here, you're going to spawn here, and again you're basically going to get spawn trapped. You may want to avoid is this one up here, because again you can get spawn trapped, but this one's 50-50. If you're on a team that's decent, you can definitely get away with it, and again it's a tricky one. Sometimes you can get away with it, again because it's easy to get spawn trapped from all the way here and even possibly down here, and even if you go down here it's just so long to get out of your spawn. The enemy team are going to goal whichever ones that are not around here. So you want to avoid that in most cases. Again, in some cases you can goal them, but again it depends. The next one is the one up here, top house one, so just don't goal that one at all unless it's the last goal, there's only time to goal one more. Again, want to avoid this because you'll just get spawn trapped easily here. No way for you to get out. So avoid that one as well. It's not a tip, but just in case you don't know, if you do pick up a target, all you need to press is L2 and then the circle button. Obviously it doesn't work because I can't unclip this one, but basically that's how you will drop it basically. So L2, find the target and press circle. So for example, if my spawn was here and I dropped to here, if someone spawns next, it's so easy for them to just get on the target by accident. So you want to put it in the corner where it's not in anyone's way when they're spawning. When you're playing capture mission, and the enemy has the target and you've got the target as well, and you can see on the map that they're very close to their goal, then in that case avoid goaling if your team's winning, because it will reset the counter. But let's say the enemy has like 10 seconds and you still have 30 seconds on your timer, and there's no harm in you resetting it, because it benefits you, it doesn't benefit the enemy. But if you're on like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, even 20 seconds, and the enemy's on 30, you don't want to just give them, you don't want to minus 10 seconds from your counter. So avoid goaling in that case. Just wait until the target is away from the enemy spawn, and then you can goal basically. Otherwise you risk the counter being resetted and it could mean that you lose the game.